Hey guys, I'm Ron Deal with Family Life for Practical Dads. Listen, I want to share with you 6 P's for step parenting. All right, the 6 P's of step parenting. By the way, this comes out of my book, Building Love Together in Blended Families, co-authored with Dr. Gary Chapman. So if you want to learn more about the process of step parenting and being a blended family, I would encourage you to take a look at that resource. Here's P number 1, partner. Partner with your wife. Man, that relationship is everything to your ability to lead, to be a stepdad, to develop a relationship with your kids. Now, you may be asking yourself, well, wait, Ron, I thought this was about step parenting. You're talking about partnering. Right. Well, see, here's the deal. Your marriage is what sets you up to succeed as a stepdad or to fail as a stepdad. It is everything. It is the first and last motivator for children to move toward you. You see, if their mom is madly in love with you, then they kind of have to figure out how to like you and get along with you. But if she's not, then they're going to side with her and against you. You see how that works? It's so delicate. And so the marriage is really everything. So wives, what we're going to ask you to do is we're going to ask your wife to make her allegiance firmly in this relationship with you. And that's going to set you up to succeed. I worked with a guy one time and I said, hey, tell me about your step family. And he said, I love my stepdad. He was great. We played, we had fun. And I said, that's marvelous. And then he gave me whiplash and he said, but I never respected him. And I'm like, dude, why? I thought you liked him. And he goes, yeah, but, and then he thought about it and he said, you know, shortly after my mom married him, she came to us kids and said, listen, if he ever does anything I don't like, I'll just take you and we'll leave. Wow. So the message was very clear. Without that partnership, he's not somebody I have to respect. He's just some guy my mom married. You see how that crumbles? Your ability to step into their lives. So partner with your wife and position you to be a stepdad. P number 1. P number 2 is pursue. I want you to pursue a relationship with your stepchild. Of course you're going to do that. Like, you're going to try to bond with them. And sometimes there's just built-in challenges depending on the age of children, how often they're in your home versus the other home. They might be 19, they might be 30 when you walked into their life, and they're just not around very much. So you got to take all those things into consideration. The biggest one is their level of motivation to like and get along with you. On a scale of 1 to 10, my bet is your motivation's a 9.9. You want to connect, bond, and build a family together. That's why you got married. That's that part of the vision, of course. But kids are somewhere under that. Now, they might be an 8. They might be highly motivated to have a relationship with you. But on day 1, they're often a 6, a 5, and maybe one of them is a 2. So your 9 and their 2 don't come together very well. And so you really got to pursue at a pace, that's the 3rd P, at a pace that they can receive you. Let me just give you this. If I told you you had a new neighbor and I wanted you to become friends with them, what would you not do? You would not run down to your neighbor's house, bang on their door, yell and scream, hey, I'm your new best friend, you just don't know it yet, let me in, I'm hungry, I want to get some food out of your refrigerator. Yeah, that's not the way you build a friendship with anybody, right? Everybody knows you can't do that, but a lot of stepdads come in with that same level of eagerness to bond with stepchildren, and they force themselves in, and they push really hard, and they bang, and they get sort of angry, and they sort of say, look, I'm a nice guy, let me in. You can't push. You can't demand love and affection like that. You can't do that to build any friendship. So of course, you need to come in and you need a pace, something they are comfortable with. The reason Gary and I wrote this book together is because you may know your child's love language, maybe it's physical touch. Well, that's a very intimate thing. You just don't walk up to a stranger and start bear hugging them, right? That's not going to work. They're going to call the cops. Well, you can't push yourself into affection with a stepchild just because you're a 9. Remember, they're a 2. You got to find affection that works for a 2. And the other child's a 4. You got to find affection that works for that 4. You see how this is working? You're going to pursue a relationship, but you got to pace with them, their level of openness, their level of motivation, and then that helps you build some momentum. So here's P number 4, patience. Because just none of this works as fast as you want it to. Remember, you're a 9, you're eager, you're motivated, but it's going to be slower than you want it to be, and that's okay. That's not defeat. Too many guys go, yeah, I just feel like rejected. No. It's just pace. It's not defeat. It's not even rejection most of the time. They're just warming up. So what I want you to do is think crock pot. How do you cook a step family? Well, it's not with a blender. Blenders have blades. People get cut up and it's ugly, all right? Everybody gets smashed. That's not the way you do a blended family. You cook it in a crock pot. And how does that work? Well, you drop ingredients in and you wait. I mean, hours, right? In the meantime, what's happening? All the ingredients are warming up at their own pace. They're beginning to soften a little bit, and then they start sharing. And it's the sharing when things get really good. But the warming up, you got carrots, potatoes, you got beef in there. Everything warms up at its own pace, differently than the other ingredients. Everything softens at its own pace. It can get confusing, right? If you have a lot of ingredients in your family, think about it. Yeah, that's the point. There's some confusion in this. There's some ambiguity in this. Partner with your wife, talk it through, figure out what it is to connect and bond with the carrot and with the potato and with the celery and with the beef, and work at their pace, knowing and trusting that over time, things are warming up, things are softening, and people are beginning to share of themselves. It takes the average blended family 5 to 7 years to figure out their familyness. Just like a crock pot, sometimes takes 6 or 7 hours. Okay, so that's your pace. You're gonna be patient, you're gonna trust the process. P number 5, persistence. Dudes, I want you guys to be stubborn, all right? I want you to be a stubborn stepdad, but stubbornly persistent is what I really mean. I just want you to stay after this thing and don't quit. You know, we guys, when we hit brick walls, and at least it feels like a brick wall and you're not getting anywhere, we just want to withdraw. It's sort of our natural thing. We want to quit. We'd rather do nothing than not be successful at what we're trying. Yeah, no, can't do that. You just got to be lovingly persistent. Think, Heavenly Father has not given up on me, would not give up on me. He was persistent to pursue me. And that's what you got to do to build this relationship with the kids. P number 6, prayer. It's kind of the obvious one. Because after all, what I just gave you is a little bit of a map, but it's not going to help you know exactly when to zig or when to zag. You don't know when to step in, when to step out, when to open your mouth, when to shut up. Those are all delicate things, and you'll learn as you go. You'll make mistakes, and you'll get better at this thing. But in the meantime, my goodness, pray to the Heavenly Father. Pray that He directs your steps, and trust Him with it. And you'll live and learn. And over time, your family will grow together, just like in crock pots. And someday it'll taste really good.